Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. My name is Brian Schaefer. I'm one of the scholars in residence here at Jacob's Pillow. And it's a pleasure to be here with the artistic and executive director of Ballet Hispanico, Eduardo Vilaro. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for having me, Brian. It's great to be here.
We will be joined in a few minutes by a few of the dancers, but we're going to get this conversation started, and we'll talk for a few minutes. Oh, that was such a quick costume change. Thank you so much for joining us. We have two Eduardos left. We have Melissa Verdesia. Thank you for being here. And then next to her is Paulo Hernandez Ferreira. Thanks so much for being here. It is such a treat and long overdue to have you back at the Pillow. We are obviously a year delayed from when we should be having this conversation. And I just want to start by kind of recognizing the pause that we've had and checking in with all of you to see how the company has done in the past year, how you've responded. Eduardo and I had a great Pillow Talk conversation online last summer, and we got to celebrate the company's anniversary, 50th anniversary at a distance. But it's been a challenging year, and also such an honor that you are back on stage here at the Pillow with us in front of an audience for the first time. It's really, really special, and I'd just like to hear from all of you kind of what the journey has been like to get back here.
Sure. Well, usually I will start, but I won't. I'll turn it over to the dancers and then give you an organizational point of view. So is that okay? Great.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. First of all, thank you so much for that warm reception. I think we felt that energy deeply, and we're so grateful for it. My name is Melissa, and as we've been asked, like this past year, it's been challenging, to say the least, on every level, personally, professionally, and each one of us has felt that obstacle and that struggle of the pandemic in different ways. But for us as an organization, to me personally, I've been part of the organization now I'm going on 10 years, and it's been a huge journey. And this year, more so than ever, I can honestly say that I could speak to the fact that this organization is truly about family and being resilient. I think when we were founded back in the 70s by Tina Ramirez, that spirit, that idea that we wanted to give a voice to the Latinx community and those that are underserved, that idea, that seed has been planted and has blossomed. And this mission of ours, it remains true, and it's highlighted in moments like this, like a pandemic or a shortage, or whether political or social crisis. So to be more specific, during the pandemic, it was sad because we were shut down right before our 50th anniversary. And it was somber and bittersweet because we were looking forward to it. But Mr. Vilaro, he was like, no, we're not gonna weep, and we're not gonna be somber. We're gonna get back on this horse, and we're gonna keep trugging along, because we have to be that beacon of light to so many people. So right away we got on Zoom, we got high tech like everyone else, and we started providing classes and streaming videos and trying to keep the dialogue open to our community, because those are the people that need us, you guys, and also for us. It's a two-way street. And that was also very evident to me through this pandemic, that we both need each other so much as a spectator, as a performer. This art form is about that harmonious marriage, and that's why it's beautiful to have this live energy right here. So thank you.
Yeah, I think challenging year is an understatement. A lot of us lost a lot of loved ones, which was unfortunate. A lot of us dealt with a ton of trauma, whether it was socially, whether it was just internally. We dealt with so much. So coming back into the studio in April, a lot of us had different goals. My specific goal was to find a sense of healing through dance. I spent this entire year, locked in my room with family members who were struggling with different things. And I saw my community struggling. I saw the world struggling. There was so much pain. And the moment I entered the studio, I was shocked by how much love there was. I forgot that. We were rehearsing so hard right before the pandemic. We were ready to go. We were rehearsing over 10 pieces. We knew what we were about to do. And everything shut down. And we were a little aimless for a little bit, as dancers. We were like, okay, we're not in the studio anymore. We're not going to our 10 to 6 right now. But what are we gonna do? How are we gonna find ourselves? And when we came back, that was my goal, to heal. And now I'm having so much fun. I'm having so much fun. And it's so much fun to be in front of y'all, to do our pieces, to do our repertory that we've been rehearsing so hard, and to see that people are enjoying it and that we can bring life and joy to each of our audience members, as well as celebrating ourselves. It's a celebration. We're having fun up here.
Aren't they fantastic? And they're all like that. I think the main point here is something that Melissa said. That idea of family was really important, certainly for me as a leader, that I have this family, that we are this family. And this family is not me alone. It's not the dancers alone. It's our board of directors. It's our staff. It's our students. It's so many people. And so we had a responsibility to come together. And so how we came together was in many different ways. Just like everyone, we went to Zoom. We went into classes. But what I feel we really made sure was that we had our values in front of all of that. That we were an organization just like many organizations of color that have survived years without the funding they need, without just tugging along right there. We knew difficulty. We've known difficulty. We know perseverance. And so we just turned it up a notch and said, we're going to enjoy it and keep going. And we invited everyone along with us, our audiences, and our audiences reacted. I mean, those programs that we did online were fantastic, and we would get such feedback, and we grew our audiences, actually. That was really remarkable at this time. And it was important for us because we knew that there was a time to come back, and we wanted to make sure we were stronger than ever when we came back. I feel that the dancers, it was so critical for me to, and the organization, to make sure that the artists were taken care of, and our staff were taken care of. So we did all kinds of things. I don't want to go into it, but we were very much aware of the health, the mental health, and their well-being. So we persisted and we persevered.
Thank you all for sharing that. And I want to talk about the anniversary now, the celebration, and what it means to each of you. And Eduardo, you were a dancer with the company, and you have been leading it for over a decade now. And Melissa, you've been with the company for almost a decade. And Paolo, you can share with us kind of how long you've been with the company and your relationship to it. But what does it mean? I mean, it's an extraordinary achievement for any dance company, for an American dance company, especially because of lack of funding and support. And so what it means to see the company reach this place, and individually, as well as kind of how you've seen the company evolve over that time.
Well, back in 1985, when I joined the company, I was an immigrant child who grew up assimilating. And assimilating at that time was forget yourself, learn the language, be American. And it wasn't like now we know that American is so much more, right? So when I walked in through the doors of Ballet Hispanico, I found home. Sorry. I didn't know this was going to happen. I did. It was so incredible because I was able to be myself. I was able to speak my language. I was able to, and not have my mother say, oye, English, please. And it was so incredible because I delved into the culture in such a way. And so it helped me relearn to be a Cuban-American man, right? And who I was. And that's all because of Tina Ramirez, our founder, who wanted to give access to artists like myself in order to show a different side of who we are. So you can imagine, to go from there to when I was asked to be the artistic director, it's still surreal. I still wake up in the mornings and go, wait, is this happening? But I'll finish off. I learned so much from Tina Ramirez. I learned, that we are responsible for our community. I learned that we are responsible for our world and how we continue to nurture a cultural dialogue. She instilled in me a need to teach and share. And I think that that's what's made me be able to do the work I do today.
That was
Oh,
great.
thanks.
Mr. V, thank you for saying that. Like a decade, many decades. It goes by so fast. Like when you enter, we're so green and new and everything's novel. And then you start growing and time passes and there's moments that you get caught up in the craziness of it. And then you have to stop and be like, whoa, like right now we're on this beautiful stage. The day uplifted, the sun is out, we're sharing this with you. And the point of saying that is that it goes by so quickly. So my experience has been a truly blessed one. Ballet Hispanico not only has become my family on a professional level, but personally, I met my husband in the company, and we had a child, and my family is very much intertwined in the threads of Ballet Hispanico, and that's
We're a very fertile organization
Yeah.
these days.
this is good. But so reaching 50 years, it's an amazing achievement. And not many organizations can say that they're as strong and as resilient and as poignant or relevant, And for me to see that evolution when I came in as a young 20-year-old and now like as a mom and a wife, and you see things from different lenses, it's beautiful to see how the work is continuing to touch lives and people and be exactly relevant to the social issues of the day. And also what Mr. Vilaro said, that education is such a huge part of our organization. That branch is so strong, and that branch will never be broken off because it's through teaching that we share our art and our gift. I truly believe that God gives us these gifts, and it gets to a point where we have to give, we have to share. If not, we're not bettering this society. And so for me, Ballet Hispanico reaching 50 years is gratitude for what it's done for my life professionally and personally, and that gift of being able to share the gifts that I think my creator gave me.
This is my third season with the company, but I do feel like I have a longer story than that. I remember I first saw the company on TV. I saw Carmen, and then I saw Club Havana, and I was like, what is this? Why? I love this so much. I've never seen this before. And in a similar way, I am super mixed. My dad is Salvadoran and my mom is European white. So growing up, I was a little scared of that. I was scared to speak Spanish in front of my friends. I was afraid of being queer. I was afraid of being non-binary. I was afraid of just being myself. I was so ashamed in a sense. And I remember I felt very lost, but I found dance and I loved it so much. And the very first show live I ever saw of Ballet Hispanico, I actually saw Melissa and her now husband, Levon, perform a duet, and I was brought to tears. The whole duet explored how it feels to be different and feel different in a world that may not accept you, and you're so afraid of that. And I was wholeheartedly brought to tears. It was such an amazing performance, and I will never forget it. And that was my goal. I wanted to be a part of this company. So I went through college, and I thankfully got in. Here I am now, and I'm so proud to be here. I found so much of myself in what is a relative short amount of time. 2 full years, I've come out as non-binary, and I'm so proud of that. I'm so proud of where I come from, where my family comes from, and that just shows the legacy that Ballet Hispanico has. It's changed my life. I can't imagine the countless lives it's changed as well. That's one of my goals as a performer, is so that young kids can see themselves and see that the things that they might be ashamed of growing up, the things that they might be afraid to say out loud or to truly just be themselves in the future, that's what's going to make them different. And that's what's going to make people love them. And that's what they're going to love most about themselves, because that's what I love most about myself. I love being different in the mainstream, and I love being Hispanic. And this company allows me to do that, and allows me to represent, and allows me to spread that all around the world.
I want to talk about the program. It's a really extraordinary program, and I think all three works are so different, and yet they're all so quintessentially Ballet Hispanico. And so I'm curious, like how would you describe how each kind of reveals a different facet of the company and kind of as a composite, as a complete portrait? What do they tell us about Ballet Hispanico?
I think what the program does is it centers our Latinidad and how we can all, artists can look at it. Because when I approach a choreographer about a work, it's about, so what are you thinking about your culture? What's ticking in there? What's going on? And, you know, the interesting thing when I watch this program is the fact that every single choreographer used very folkloric ideas and then just deconstructed them in their own ways. I mean, the middle three solos is larger. It's a larger work. And Vicente Nebrada, this was in the late 60s. This man was taking Afro-Brazilian and Afro-Caribbean movement and adding it to arabesques. Who'd have thought? We're asking for that now. We're asking for different narratives. But yet there he was. And I thought it was so important because it continues to show the legacy of the organization and the platform it has given not only the community and the culture, but the artists themselves. And then you take something like Tiburones. Tiburones was really a conversation with Annabelle and I was like, Annabelle, we've got 2 West Side Stories coming out, one on Broadway with 2 more European, non-Latino, creators, and then we've got Steven Spielberg doing it. And I have to say this: I have a love-hate relationship with West Side Story. I can sing every song. Every song. I Feel Pretty is my favorite. And so to be able to have that conversation with her and then say, we need to have a response. And we need to have a response for today, because what West Side Story did was give us this legacy of stereotype that to this day we are still trying to break. To this day. And then to have someone in such high places with such power say, we're just going to redo it the same way, or we're going to redo it without really talking to the community and saying, hey, how are we going to do this? How do we better reflect you? So that I thought that was very important. And of course we have to have mambo. We have to have the mambo. So I love the way that she utilizes the folklore in, well, both of them. Both pieces are very sarcastic. One in a much darker way, the first one, and the last one, Gustavo, in a very fun, sarcastic way. So the last piece, he's taken the music and he's riffing off of that. The sarcasm is really about the music, not the culture, not the language. It's like, to me, when I watch it, it's almost like he's asking, why did someone record that with that voice? That's not the voice we're supposed to hear for that music, right? And how it was appropriated and changed. And so there's such deep levels, but yet it feels so happy and celebratory, right? So and that's why it's a 50th anniversary celebration for me. I hope that was clear for everybody.
And also for Melissa and Paolo, if you can talk about what it's like to physically switch between those styles in one program, and what it's like to kind of hold all those different physical languages in your body.
Yeah, no, as you could see, each piece has its differences, and on a physical level, it's very challenging. And Paolo can speak to that because there are days that he does all 3. I do the first and the last, and it's interesting how, for me, you have to change your perspective and your persona, no? In the first piece, I'm part of this gang, I'm part of this clique, and we have a sense of duty to show the people that we don't want to be like the circus monkeys, that they're telling us what to do. We're going to fight against that. We're going to fight this oppression. And there's a sense of confrontation. Whereas in 18+1, the final piece, as Eduardo said, it's the music by Perez Prado, the mambo. For me, I'm Cuban American, and so that composer is very much known in my home, and just hearing it gives you this internal groove that you want to just laugh and smile and be silly. And so for one thing the change of persona is very evident and very fun for me, no? And on a physical level, Gustavo's movement really plays with the idea of detailed small gesture and expansive movement. And it's how you get between point A and point B and make it look effortless and flawless, and at the same time tell the story. You know, whereas Annabelle, in this particular piece, she's very classically trained, but she has a wealth of knowledge and experience with so many different styles, classical, neoclassical, modern. But because this particular piece was speaking towards that West Side Story, quote unquote, idea, we were very much in characters, I would say. This is a very character-based piece, theatrical piece for her, thank you. And so for me, it was playing between the theatrical and the musicality and expansion and contraction of the different kinds of movement.
And I would say too, this triple bill is no joke. This is a marathon of a triple bill, especially with these pauses. We are sweating back there. We are working hard, and I love it. I would say when I look at these three pieces, they are each saturated in one of our core values as an organization. We have this first piece that is really questioning stereotypes. We are not a monolithic whole. Yes, we are one giant community, but each region, each country, each person is completely different. So you can't just shove us into a little box and say, check that, because that's what you are. That's not what we are. And so that's what I feel like we're exploring there. It's like, yes, I can wear heels, show off and be fierce, but then I still have to be a man at times, and I still have to explore what it's like to try to fit into that box again. Then we go into that second solo. It is technique to prime, and I love that. You know, they may say, oh, well, you know, as a company, maybe we just stick to the more ethnic pieces. No, we also have fierce technique. We have fierce training. You know, we studied a long time to be as good as we are today and to be here on this stage. And then this third piece, as we've said, it's musicality. This is music that my family, you know, was listening to in the kitchen, cooking on the weekends for parties and things like that. So when I first showed my parents this piece, they were like, they know nothing about dance, by the way. They were like, wait, why do we know this music? Oh my God, this is so exciting. And I was like, yeah, because we're Ballet Hispanico. And so that's what I love about this bill. It represents us as a company and our core values, the things that we explore, the things that we question, and the things that we push.
That actually takes us to the end of our time, and I want to honor your time here. And I know it's getting hot up here, and I'm so glad that you joined us today to kind of explore the history, the legacy, the art, the work, and thank you for being here and sharing this celebration and this reunion with us.
Thanks. I really want to take a moment to thank Pam, Tachi, and The Pillow, because it's organizations like this, it is places like this that, you know, there's a lot of fear right now, fear of coming back, fear of if we're going to go, and to take that stand and say we're moving forward is beyond courageous. It is necessary. It is something that is essential for artists. Thank you, Jacob's Pillow. Thank you. And finally, you know, we talked a lot about family, and I know he's like, stop. We talked a lot about family, but family's important, and I just want to also shout out to our board chair who's here, who is our number one groupie, Kate Lear. So thank you, Kate. And thank you, everybody.